Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back inside Gamebridge Fieldhouse as the Indiana Fever were back at home on Saturday. It was a matinee game hosting the reigning champion, the New York Liberty, off to a 2-0 start, and it was the featured game on CBS, part of a spectacular weekend for all of us here in central Indiana. The 500 Festival Parade Saturday morning downtown. Then the Fever game tomorrow, what I'm calling the Indy Double, with the Indy 500, 12:45 p.m. Green flag start there, followed by Pacers, Knicks, Game 3, Sunday night right here, 8 p.m. And this game in particular, though, it was a game that featured so many runs. Neither team was good at slowing those down and squashing them as early as they should have. The Liberty, for example, 18-1 run in the second quarter, 16-2 run in the fourth quarter. The Fever got back in the game via a 27-9 run. It was really the third quarter and part of that fourth quarter. It helped the Fever get up by as many as 12 in a game that they trailed by 15. The game was tied at 88. Remember, the Fever gave up 55 first-half points. Game tied at 88 after Aliyah Boston sank 2 foul shots. But then the officials called a foul on the Fever. It sent Sabrina Ionescu to the free throw line, and that's where this game was won. 90-88 the final, as the Liberty improved on the season to 3-0. The Fever dropped to 2-2. But still, even after those Sabrina free throws, the Fever had one more shot at it. They used a reset timeout, their last timeout. Did not have a full timeout, so no, they could not have challenged that foul attempt. But the Fever used a reset timeout, 2.9 seconds left. They threw it into Caitlin Clark, and as she went up for a shot, had it swiped away by Natasha Cloud, who played physical and good defense on Caitlin Clark throughout. But between that moment, which the Fever thought was a foul, and especially earlier on, with DeWanna Bonner about a minute earlier, got fouled obviously on the block, did not get it, but then they called it the other end, the one on Lexi Hull. So the Fever's message here was consistency, and you could just see after the game, even on the court, that they were fed up with some of the officiating. Several players and Coach Stephanie White making that known. And then post-game, Stephanie White did not hold back, wanting to make her point clear not only to all of us, media, fans, and front office, but also the league office with the WNBA.
I thought she got fouled. I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games. A minus 31 free throw discrepancy. And I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim. And the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable. So it's disappointing, that it doesn't go both ways, or it hasn't gone both ways. But we also can't allow that to consume us, right? Like, we've got to be able to play through that. We've got to be able to control the things that we can control. I felt like at times our late game execution was good, and I consider most of the latter half of the fourth quarter, because it was a tight ball game. We're still not recognizing our mismatches. I felt like AB had plenty of opportunities. We could have gotten her touches down low, and we had some turnovers, key turnovers. We settled at times. We fought, but we can't dig ourselves a hole from the beginning.
I haven't watched it yet, but use a reset timeout, ran it a little bit different, similar play to what we ran the other night when we played Atlanta here. I don't know, I have to go back and watch. I don't know.
I thought it was egregious, honestly. I thought it was obvious. I felt like AB got one, had one going to the rim. They're in rotation. DB's was crazy. We had, and then Lexi's, I felt like equally, we talk about, coming into the path, and it was an offensive player veering into the defensive player's path. It is what it is. We have to be able to play through it. But at the same time, I feel like it's really disrespectful. Look, there's a system to making sure that we can send stuff in and communicate our grievances, so to speak. I don't know that I ever feel like the system works. It's not looking. We're not looking for a change. We're just looking for consistency. I felt like the second half of Atlanta, at least at our place, was at least consistent, right? And that's the thing that we're looking for.
To be clear, it's not just a today thing as well. This has been something that's building, that's bottled up for this team. And in a game here, though, specifically where they were outshot at the free throw line 32-15. But again, it has been building. You go back to the last couple of games when they played the Atlanta Dream in a home and home, and the freedom of movement was not exactly enforced to the liking, and being one of those bullet points that the WNBA stressed at the beginning of the season. And all of that then has led to decreased output from Caitlin Clark. She struggled to shake loose the last couple of games and has not gone off like she maybe typically does. And in fact, in the last game, it was the first since 2022 where she did not make a three-pointer, went 0 for 5 from the field. She missed her first 7 here in this one here today, but finally got it going there late in the third quarter, hit one and then was fouled, and then also buried one from 34 feet to end that third quarter. It gave the Fever a nice cushion going into that fourth quarter.
Some of that is play calling, some of that is recognition and flow, some of that is angles of our screens. We got to move her around a little bit more. I mean, she plays pretty much above the break all the time. And sometimes that's easy to predetermine how they're going to play certain actions. So we got to move her around a little bit more in different actions.
Yeah, I think we struggled with our transition D there in the fourth to get started. And then gave up some layups, fouled a lot, and then JJ made some big threes for them to really put them back in the game. And yeah, those are, the defending champs. They're going to make plays. That's what they do. I thought we needed to find a way to stop their run a little faster, and that has to come collectively from the group. And we'll do a better job of that. We'll find ways to respond a little bit better and not get as stagnant.
The other challenge for the Fever, more than consistency from the officials, has been consistency of their own play. Again, they gave up 55 first-half points, but then they held the Liberty to 13 points in that third quarter on 4 of 19 shooting. That was the big reason why they were able to get back in this game, overcome that 15-point deficit, and go plus 17 in that third quarter, leading them into that fourth quarter when they were ahead by 8 points. It's those swings that you don't want as much of. You want more steady, consistent play at both ends, starting, though, at the defensive end.
We just have to make sure that we're playing consistent throughout the whole game. It's pretty easy to just say that our, not getting over the hump in that fourth quarter, but I think our start, in that second quarter, they outscored us by a bit, so we have to make sure that our start is better, so when we do get to the fourth quarter, it doesn't have to be this close. Yeah, our defense picked up. I think we're in the passing lanes, we're denying making all their catches tough, so I think, once again, it goes back to our start. They scored 30 points that first quarter, even though we had 29, that's way too much for us. So we have to make sure, once again, we're up, we're denying, we're getting in their space, because they're a great team, and if they can pick you apart, they're going to do that.
Now, Caitlin Clark dealt with foul trouble once again. She had a game-high 5 fouls for the second game in a row, so that, too, impacted the way in which she played and the way in which the Fever had to use her.
We really played one good quarter of basketball and lost to the defending champions by 2, so I guess that's positive. A lot of ways to continue to get better, but yeah, I did not my best shooting night. I thought I could take care of the ball a little bit better. Had some tough ones, ones where my arm was getting grabbed, but whatever. But yeah, just keep at it there, keep shooting it.
We have to do a better job collectively of understanding that individually we don't have to make the play that stops the run or the play that turns the tide, the play that starts the run. We've got to continue to do, what allowed us to be successful in the third quarter, and that was ball movement. That was playing 1-second basketball. That was player movement, and making the easy play.
Now, a bright spot in these first 4 games for the Fever has been that of third-year center Aliyah Boston. Much different scenario than this time last year where she turned off social media, kind of disconnected there. Wanted to get in better shape, wanted to be more comfortable in the paint and on the same page there with Caitlin, where this year, much different. She is playing very well and has been the Fever's most dependable player through the first 4 games here. She's been the rock. She's been the central hub, and that's something that head coach Stephanie White talked with her about in the offseason, is playing through her more, going to her more. And today she led the Fever with 27 points and 13 rebounds.
I'm really just out there hooping, doing what my team needs for me. I think for me, I try not to honestly look at how I'm doing, but what I'm doing to affect our team, and so just making sure that I can do everything, score the ball around the rim, be consistent there. So for me, that's really my focus, just making sure that I'm consistent, scoring the ball, defending, and being able to grab some rebounds.
Now, after a 35-point beatdown of the Sky on opening night, it has not been anything like that since. The Fever's last 3 games have been decided by a total of 8 points, and just 3 points when taking in consideration for the 2 losses. That's why you hear it's so frustrating for some of these players and for this team because of how close they are, yet it feels much worse than that, being a 2-2 start for a team with championship aspirations. The margin of error simply is not there right now. It's slim. They have to play all 40 minutes. They have to put together consistent quarters, get some stops, not allow those big runs, and then respond themselves.
We are 2 possessions from being 4-0, but there was so many little areas in this game that we could have improved. Like our defense, again, to start the game was poor. And we got to find a way to come out with more energy, being able to guard.
Now, what has worked for the Fever is when they move the ball, when they find the mismatch, when they welcome those singles rather than a home run play. Stephanie White referred to that, obviously referencing baseball, and also keeping the intensity high, not going with the lulls of a game and maybe the highs and lows of a crowd as well. I mean, when Caitlin knocked down those 3-pointers in the third quarter, this place was electrifying, as it should be. But then when you see the Liberty go on the runs like they did, things got a little quiet. It's trying to prevent those lulls here in a game that they ultimately lost by 2 points. Now, before the game, the Fever held a moment of silence to remember Jim Irsay, the Colts owner who passed away earlier this week. It was about a half an hour they announced it before Game 1 of the Pacers win in New York.
Was a dear friend, transformative leader, a passionate advocate for the community, and someone whose generosity, vision, and spirit touched countless lives. Jim helped shape our city into the sports capital it is today, and his legacy, both on and off the field, will continue to inspire us and generations to come. Please join us in a moment of silence as we remember Jim Irsay.
One of the special things that we've seen over the last month is the support within the franchises. We've seen the Fever at Pacer games, and today, Pacers were at the Fever game. Tyrese Halliburton was courtside, sitting with one of Caitlin's brothers, sitting with Connor McCaffrey, sitting with his skills trainer, Drew Hanlon. Up in kind of the owner's corner, Steve Simon, alternate governor for the Pacers and Fever, head coach Rick Carlisle of the Pacers. He was sitting next to Kelly Kroskoff, Fever president, who previously was the assistant GM for the Indiana Pacers. I also saw Jenny Busick, assistant coach Jim Boylan. So a lot of support here internally from the Pacers, who, by the way, they had the day off after winning Game 2 at New York. They did have kind of a pro day where you get whatever you need here leading up to Game 3 coming up on Sunday. That's when they're going to try to get a stranglehold of that series and take a 3-0 lead. As for the Fever, they get some time off, some time to rest and relax. They'll take Sunday off, have 3 days between games heading into traveling to Washington to face the Mystics again coming up on Wednesday. That wraps up things for me here at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. For FieldhouseFiles.com, I'm Scott Agness.